Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Etsy Profits Generator, where I'm going to be teaching you all about case studies in this video. I actually have gone through and put together several different mug case studies of actual products that we sell on our store. I went through and gave you the exact numbers of revenue and what we've achieved net-wise, and I also got into detail with ads, which I think you're going to find very helpful in this lesson. So I think you're going to find this very valuable to be able to follow along and see some of the things that I've accomplished here on my end. These are all from one of my stores, and you can turn around and utilize what we're seeing here in these case studies and use it directly with what you can do in your own store. So let me go ahead and get started. So as I just shared, these are mug sales case studies, and this is what I'm going to be sharing with you regarding the actual case studies themselves, and this is going to be taken right from the data in our Etsy store. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is a Boss Like You is harder to find than toilet paper. This was a design that sold really well for us during when the first pandemic came out in early 2020. Also, we have a product called A Memory of My Retirement, the one when we were quarantined. Obviously, that was around the same time as well, and this is one that no longer sells for us. So these are two ones that no longer sell, and this last one I'm going to share with you, No Hablo Factado coffee or tea mug. This was something that was really growing for us, and I'm going to share with you why it no longer is once I get into that. So all these things we cover, and at the very end, like I said, I'm going to share with you ads and how they're working out for us and how they can work out for you too. So here is case study number one. A Boss Like You is harder to find than toilet paper during a pandemic coffee mug. Now this is the design there on the right, and you can see that we did it in a two-tone color mug, and we did all the different colors that we can put in there, and then you see the time period. This actually was not started until around September 1st of 2020, and it went basically to the end of that year, so about a 4 months period of time that we sold this mug. Now this was something, this is very interesting, this actually was created from another design that we sold early when the pandemic first started. So I think around the late March, early April, we came up with a design like this where we actually put up a product for a mother like you is hard to find than toilet paper during a pandemic. That was focused on Mother's Day. That sold really well. Then we put father in there. And then people kept on emailing us. They kept on sending us messages and say, hey, can you put a boss? Hey, can you put a leader? Hey, can you put whatever, a manager. We got so many different requests, and so we just, changed it, put it up there, and then that started selling. So you see, this didn't start selling till September, so people were asking us about this, and that's when it started selling. So is actually a product that we didn't originally create, but we changed it based on feedback from people, what customers wanted. Now the selling price, you'll see, this is for 11-ounce mug. We started selling this at $15.95, and as you'll see, as I talk about here through some of these different case studies, around December, the second week in December, we changed our entire store model over to a free shipping model. Now, I cover that in a separate lesson, so you guys can go through that and see when that would work for you. But we switched it over to where we're basically including the shipping price into the sales price and made it free shipping on the entire store for the United States. So that's why the last few weeks that we sold this mug, it was at $23.95 with the shipping already included. That's why you see those two different prices there. Now, total sales revenue for this one mug during the sales period of time was $15,479.68. So we did very well on this particular mug. And again, remember, it's just one variation of this design. We had so many different designs, it was absolutely crazy. But do know that it was focused on a certain period because it was specific to the toilet paper craze that we went through during that pandemic. It kind of had its own lifespan, and that's why we're no longer selling it. So here's what it looks like when we break down the sales revenue and traffic. You'll see, the September 1st when we first started selling it there, we had a nice pop when we first came out with it, and then there was a little bit, it went down a little bit, but then it popped again during Christmas. But around Christmas time, people were still buying these pandemic, quarantine mugs that we put out. And then we knew that it wasn't going to sell well after that because we've gotten out of that period of time, and so that's why I'm able to share with you some of these different designs, these case studies, because we're no longer selling them. All right, so you'll see the breakdown there. We had 30% that came in from ads that we were actually running, and everything else was basically from organic traffic. So the majority, as you will see as I go through breaking these things down, usually when we have a product running over time, there'll be a lot more organic traffic that will be coming in. So that's our free traffic. And then the ads usually is what helps get something running. So you don't have to run an ad. We like to because we get a great return on our money, as you'll see here from our ads on this particular product in a second. The search terms, this is the organic search terms that came up for this product, and this is just page one of, you see there's 100 different pages there, but this is the first page that gives you basically the most traffic that came in was from these top 10 keywords, right? So you see that this sold really well during Boss Day, because it was a Boss Day gift, Boss Day, that sort of thing. Then you get some generic stuff, but even down there, you have things that were focused on 2020 mug, but that's very generic. This sold really well for Boss's Day. Now, Boss's Day is in October, and it's just one of those days in the holiday calendar that you can, put something out that you can sell products around specific holidays. This one worked really well. So in the future, what we're going to do is we're going to learn from this one success that we had, and we're going to make a lot more Boss's Day mugs and products so people can come to our store and buy gifts that are more evergreen, where this one was very specific to a period of time. All right, so take that as an aha from this particular video here, because that's actually a time of a holiday that you can target as well. Now, here's the total Etsy ad spend and net profit. Now, do realize we just have been focusing on Etsy ads, all right? I'm not doing Facebook ads or any other ads. We just turn on our Etsy ads, and this is the results that we get. So you see that, kind of broke this down so we can fit it on the screen, where we had 907 clicks, which resulted in 56 orders. We got a revenue of almost $1,300 from an ad spend of just over $230. So that broke down to a really nice return on our money. And this ran for a little bit of time. Now, the longer that your ad runs, the better it actually works for you. It gets cheaper over time. Etsy actually goes through and updates things and realize they figure out what is bringing you the most return for your money, and they give you more of it. So it works really well the longer you let an ad run. So this didn't run too long, but long enough where it started really working well. It's too bad this wasn't an evergreen mug, because it would continue to do great. So you see the breakdown of all our costs there. The shipping and the item cost was exactly the same, because at this period of time, it cost us $5.99 for the mug, and it also cost $5.99 for the shipping. So those were our costs from Icon Ecom. So you can see our total ad spend there of $233.15, and then the Etsy fees that is taken from the revenue, the top line number there, and which brought the total profits of this product after all fees, that includes the advertising there, of over $4,500 in net profit. So a very good profit margin, obviously, and it would have kept getting better, as I said, the longer this mug ran. But this is one of our successes. It worked really well, and unfortunately, it is no longer working for us because it was focused on a period of time that doesn't really exist anymore. But with that said, now, like I said in a prior slide, that we can take this data and utilize it to now make mugs around Boss's Day. So I hope you guys take that into account for your own business. So next we have case study number 2, and this one is a memory of my retirement 2020, the one when we were quarantined. And this time period we started selling it. Like I said, this was more, we're doing these designs right around the end of March, April, and May. And this one we came out with May 1st, and the time period had its day as well. It no longer works. Obviously, it has a date, 2020, right? But, we didn't think that that quarantine mug was going to sell as long as it did, but, things sold really good during Christmas holidays. I think people want to remember, have a memory, or maybe they thought it was a funny gift and that sort of thing. Selling prices exactly the same as our first case study, where we started with a $15.95 for our 11-ounce two-tone mug, and then we brought it up to $23.95 when we added the free store and total shipping for the United States the shipping price already worked into the product price. Now this one did a total revenue of $67.13 and 50 cents, and that was really good for this particular mug. And then, like the one we had before, like this was the first one we did, then people were actually contacting us and asking us for different things. Hey, can we have a memory of my birthday? Can I have a memory of my graduation? Can I have a memory of whatever? People were sending us these messages, and then we just changed that retirement word to whatever it is that they wanted. And so we had tons of different mugs like this. So this is just one of the many that we had with this design. And like I said, unfortunately, it was something that was short-lived because it was focused on a year, and it was something that was going to change, where we're going to be quarantined for our entire life. Thank God, right? But that's something to think about when you come up with designs, but we did really well with these different things, and I can share the case study with you because we're no longer selling it anymore. So here's the sales revenue and traffic number screenshots, and you'll see that we sold 388 of this particular mug with the revenue there. And as before, most of the traffic came from organic traffic. So here, Etsy ads only accounted for 28.6% of the actual traffic that was coming. So this one ran longer than that first case study, therefore it had more organic search that was coming in. So the longer something runs, the more free traffic organically is things are going to rank and you're going to get traffic. So again, it's too bad that these type of products, we don't have a longevity on it where it's going to continue to run, but that's a good takeaway from these different things. But you see how over time it will get cheaper for you because the majority of our sales came from organic free traffic. Here are the search terms that were used to find this. And again, it got very specific with certain things. So retirement gifts for women was the first thing there, but you see it gets, again, specific. Retirement gift for men, retirement gift, teacher retirement gift, retirement gifts for teachers, retirement mugs. All right, so we can actually now use this data of this success to be able to create new things around these specific terms and make more of evergreen model mugs and designs that are going to work to continue to sell over time. So here's our total Etsy ad spend and our net profit numbers. As you see that, it was actually also really good. Now, it wasn't as good as that first design. So as we look at these numbers here, you might be saying, why were the net profits as good as that first case study that we did? And that's a great question. And I had to think about that myself when I looked at what was going on with this particular product. Now, I don't know if you remember that prior slide, but we had 380 mugs that were ordered, but notice there were 113 orders. Okay, now this is important. It's good that we had, an average of 3 mugs basically that we're selling per order. It actually was more than that because we had, people that were buying it in bulk for this particular item and, for different retirement parties and whatnot. But the reason why the net profits were so low was because our store model at the time, the majority of our store model was free shipping on above $35, right? But we didn't have the free shipping worked into the product cost. All right, so realize that. Because of that, we weren't making the net that we should have. Now, if this product were to continue to run, so let's say we had this happening here in our current store, we would guarantee to make the profits that we want. In fact, we have our net numbers built into things now because of this issue that we notice. We want to make sure that if we sell 380 mugs, that we're making at least $10 on every mug. All right, so we should have made at least $3,800 on this particular mug. That's the way we have our store structured now. But because of that free shipping for over $35, people were taking advantage of that, and we were not making as much profit. Now, with that said, we still made $1,000 on this, but we should have done much, much better for a revenue of something that was bringing in almost $7,000. So just something to take, a good takeaway from this. That was one of the aha moments for us and why we wanted to move to a full store free shipping model, so we have those profits built in already. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, and like I said before, I cover that in its own separate lesson. But this is a big takeaway here to make sure that we bring in the profits that we want for a particular product. All right, next we have case study number 3, and this one is the Arsari No Hablo Factardo. You see that mug right there. Now, why this slide is a little bit different, like the first two, is because we cannot open this one anymore, and I'll tell you why. We actually had Etsy shut us down, deactivate us for this, and it's very much unfortunate because this was a product that was starting to really sell well, as I show you some of the numbers here, and they took it down right in the beginning of our shopping season for Christmas, and it was pretty upsetting because we had one customer that complained that they were saying that we were making fun of the word retarded, okay, and because we put tardo in there. Here I thought it would be the F word that was in there, and I'm not the type of person that likes to put in different curse words or put in different things that I don't believe in. I thought this was a funny saying. It was something that we saw was selling well. We put it up there and it really just took off, right? It was supposed to be a funny mug. It wasn't supposed to make fun of anybody, but we had one person complain. So Etsy came back and said, hey, you're making fun of this and we're taking it down. And so, unfortunately, we were taken down right before December 1st, I believe, of 2020. Anyway, we were selling this mug at $15.95. We never got a chance to increase it to the free shipping model, all right, because it was before we made the free shipping switch, all right, that we got shut down. But even still, we did a total revenue of $41.07 on this particular mug. Now, one other thing I want to share with you is we ended up taking this design, and once it was shut down on our main store, and I moved it over to Shop by Dave, and maybe some of you guys followed this in December. I put it up in Shop by Dave, and it started selling. It actually did $901 in revenue, and then guess what? Etsy shut us down. All right, and then they kind of dinged us and they said, make sure that you don't do this. So if there is a situation where something gets shut down, I would not recommend moving it to other stores. Again, I had to learn the hard way. Don't think because one person complained that you can move it to another store and make it work. They're still going to have an issue with it. And I see this still selling on other stores, but no, it is going to be taken down. And you just want to not get in trouble with Etsy. We want to make sure we keep having our store put up there. So I want to share that piece with you as well. Now here's the breakdown of the sales revenue and traffic numbers. You'll see that we sold 233 items of this particular mug and with that revenue. Now here's where I want to show you. Notice that the ad revenue percentage is much, much higher than the first two. Okay, we did 50.6%. So half of our traffic was coming from paid ads. And one of the reasons is, you'll see when you see the keywords that we're ranking for, we were ranking for very generic keywords, and that makes a big difference. We want to make sure that we're focused on keywords that are long tail, very specific keywords. All right, that's where we're going to get the most bang for our buck. Not only that, but we were ranking for these generic keywords that were just blowing through money. And even though we got sales from them, we didn't make as much profit. So a lot of takeaways from this particular one, and especially when it comes to the ads, but also regarding what Etsy could possibly shut you down for different reasons. So I was always hesitant with this one just because of the the F word being in there, and I kind of wasn't really I was like not sure about it. Let me try it, but then nothing really worked with this one. All right, but so a lot of takeaways with this, and because it wasn't running that long, our ad cost was very high. So here's what I'm talking about with the search terms. Notice how generic these keywords are. So coffee mug being the first one, mugs, coffee, funny gifts probably were, and funny mugs is where we got a lot of different traffic from sales there. But see how generic this is? That's why we couldn't target it with our ads or make them profitable for us, is because of these terms. Now over time, we probably would have started ranking better for that specific term, but that being no hablo factardo, but that's what it ended up being. We got shut down before they even happened. So here's our ad spend to show you how this all worked out, and you see the revenue there and the budget spent of it. So actually the ad cost was not bad. It was only about 25%, which is usually really good. And so they were actually converting for some of those keywords, but we weren't ranking organically for those keywords. So a lot of the revenue came from the ads, and that's why you see our total net profits were really low. Now, when you saw that one chart that showed when the sales were coming, they were really starting to come in right before the product was taken down, and because of that, we never hit the profits we should have. If it would have continued and we would have sold during the holiday shopping season, we probably would have done much better, and we would have had a lot of free traffic that was coming in there. So unfortunately, it was taken down just before we even made that switch to the free shopping store model, and we would have done better if we would have had that set up already. So now I just want to talk about the Etsy ads case studies. So some data here that's I want to show you really why you want to be running Etsy ads. It's because they are so profitable. All right, so this is just a 12-month snapshot from one of our stores, and this is a store that we had started right in March of 2020. So this is good to see, because a lot of you that are starting a brand new store, you're like, well, how long is this going to take to build up my store? So here is a great one to look at, where we're looking at the, not even 12 months here. It's really 11 months, because we didn't start this store until mid-March, and the period of time that I'm showing you this here is taken here mid-February. So we're looking at about 11 months data. Now, we spent $23,149.81 of ads for the entire store, and yet we still brought a revenue of those ads of over $80,300. All right, that gives you an ACoS. An ACoS stands for average cost of sales of 28.81%. Those of you guys that run ads online, you know that that is tremendous. And also, not only is that tremendous, but we are actually starting new products. So all the different new things that we're running, when you first start a new product ad, you're running much higher costs, a much higher ACoS, but this is averaged out. All right, so even our new stuff was factored into this. This is our entire store ads and the revenue that came from it. So that is absolutely incredible. And I'm going to show you how this gets better over time, because I'm going to show you in the next slide here in a minute. I'm going to show you the Christmas shopping season. what our ads look like. But for now, I want to show you this one. So this is the last 12 months. You'll see how we had nothing pretty much in March there, and it started growing a little bit. Now, that period of time where it went up a little bit, that's our ads that were coming from our Mother's Day, Father's Day sales period. All right, so that was good. We had some really great sales during that time, but then notice that dips off. And it really starts going up around the Christmas shopping season. All right, mid-November really is when this thing really starts taking off, really early November, and that was doing better than any day that any month that we had there during the Mother's Day, Father's Day period. And then December, we just killed it, as you see. So this is a good thing to see the chart, just to see the different 2 times a year that we really run things well. But even the rest of the time, you'll see that we still have ads that are running and we're making sales throughout the year. So you'll see down below there, we spent $23,149 to make the over $80,000 in revenue, which gave us that 28.8% ACoS, which was absolutely incredible. Now, this is the other Etsy ad case study I want to share with you. This is another real-life example from the same store during our Christmas shopping season of November 15th, 2020 to December 15th, 2020. Now, the reason why I have it kind of in the middle there is we have the period before we kind of hit the Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday sort of time. And then we end it because the 12/13, I believe, was our date. That was our last day in order to guarantee sales delivery for Christmas. Okay, so things did start dropping off. You'll see there in a minute why is because that period of time was, it was just getting too close to Christmas to order it and get it in time. So our ad spend during this period of time was $9,319.11. And then from that spend, we had a revenue of over $42,000. Now that ACoS was just under 22%, 21.95%. Absolutely incredible. In fact, I think the majority of December we were running at right around 20%, but I wanted to factor in a little bit of November here. And we were doing new designs. We still had new designs that were coming in there as well. We're always putting up new designs, so we factor that in there. As like I said, new designs will spend more in the beginning when you put up a new listing. So that is absolutely incredible. It's a time of year, as you see in the picture, where people are just out there buying things. All right, they're out there buying gifts, and they're willing to pay for something when you have of quality, something that looks unique, something that is awesome, that would be a great gift. All right, so that's something to realize, that anytime I shared with you anything about ads here from our stores, that the ad spend is just it's totally worth it. I mean, so it comes from your profits, yes, but you're spending the money to get something rolling. You're also being able to get those rankings to come sooner rather than later, because you have more sales that are coming, you get more reviews, you get more action in your account, and it just works. All right, so I would highly encourage you, although you don't have to run ads, your Etsy ads, because it makes a big difference. And I'll show you another thing, a benefit you get here in a minute. But first, let me show you the graph of what this looked like during that period of time, November 15th to December 15th. So you see right after Thanksgiving, there's when it popped up, and then the first 2 weeks of December were absolutely, in fact, that first week in December you see was just absolutely incredible. Now, I think that one of the reasons why it didn't stay there at that clip was because we had so many open orders. A period of time of 5 days, we had so many open orders, and that's the first time we ran numbers like this in the store. I think Etsy kind of held back a little bit there. As you build a store and you build history, you'll be able to have a lot more wiggle room to have sales open, and you've proven before in the past that you've delivered. Until you prove that, I know other people had where Etsy said, hey, we're not going to run your ads, or we're not giving you as much the same amount of rankings or the eyeballs on your stuff until you prove to us that you can supply these orders that are going through. So another reason to build a store up, and also sometimes to have multiple stores. So in case they do hold off on one, you might have another store running. That's a different conversation for a different day. But you see there we have our revenue of over $42,000 from that $9,300 in ad spend. And last but not least, I want to share this Etsy store revenue case study. And this is a real life store, a brand new store that about 11-month-old store. As we started this one in March of 2020, like I was sharing before, kind of mid-March, and now we're taking this data from mid-February 2021. The entire revenue for this store for 11 months was over $140,000, almost $141,000, as you see from that revenue. Now, again, this wasn't even a year. All right, and it was a brand new store. So this one is it just shows you how you can take a brand new store and absolutely run with it. We currently, just to give you an idea, we have almost 700 listings in that store. We do have things now other than mugs. We have wine tumblers and we have glasses, and whenever we actually have a design that works, like I teach you in this course, we go through and make different products. Now here, this is important to see too. Now it says Etsy brought 45% of the sales. Then that's all the organic sales are coming in from the organic search results. Now notice it says ads, social media, direct was 55% of the sales. Now what does that mean? It means, yes, that some of that data is coming from our ads, and other is coming from some social media, which we weren't doing much of, but also direct people coming to our store. And I'll show you in this next slide what that looks like and what the breakdown is. So here's that breakdown where 45% is from the organic search, so Etsy marketing, search, any apps, they're bringing us that traffic. Now here it says you brought 55% of the traffic. Now the ads portion of that is 51,000, almost 52,000, as you see at the bottom right there. But it says direct and other traffic was almost 31,000. So it doesn't mean that we paid for 55% of the visits. It just means that people were coming back, direct and other traffic. If we were setting Facebook ads, maybe that would be some of the direct traffic, but I wasn't running any outside ads. So part of that was returning customers that were just using the link and coming back to us. All right, so 51,000, 52,000, 30, it's going to be the majority of people that have been coming to our store have been coming organically or repeat customers. So something to think about. With that said, that would be maybe 35% of our store traffic is from our ads. So if we weren't running our ads, that 35% wouldn't be there. And I would think too that our organic traffic wouldn't be as much because we wouldn't be ranking as well as we've been ranking because we're running our ads. So my point is, make sure you're running your ads. It's going to make a difference in your store, and you'll see things breaking down kind of like this probably in your own results as you build your store. Now, last but not least, I want to share with you the Etsy offsite ads I was telling you about. And this is where you basically just have it on or off. The default is on, whereas if you're running Etsy ads, Etsy will also do offsite ads for you. All right, and you see right there, it says Etsy advertises your items on high traffic sites, including Google, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Bing to drive new visitors, new buyers straight to your shop. Now, here's the kicker. You only pay when you make a sale from these ads. In this case, a 12% advertising fee. So they're sending traffic to your store, right? And if they don't buy, you're not paying for those ads. All right? So look at these down below here. These offsite ads brought in over $1,000 in sales, but yet we only spent $123.48, which is exactly a 12% rate. Now, even you see there it says, now if people were not doing $10,000 in revenue or more over 12 months, then you would pay 15%. Okay, big deal, 15%. Trust me, you want to have this on because this is going to be the best return on your money. All right, it works like gangbusters. You are allowing Etsy to do this advertising for you, and because they're our partner, they're working to our benefit because they make money too. All right, so this is important to make sure that you have offsite ads turned on because you see what kind of return that we're getting, and I expect this only to grow as they get better in doing these different things with offsite. So I know that was a lot of information there. I shared a lot of good data here with you. Here's some important ahas from these case studies. First of all, I want you to think about different ideas you can implement into your own business, and you might come up with some different ones here, but these are my ahas and what I want you to take away, at least from watching these case studies. So continually make new designs to increase your sales, revenue, and net profits from your store, knowing that this model works. All right, trust me, I'm showing you the actual numbers. We are doubling and tripling down on this business model, building new stores, having new VAs come in and build these for us. It is a model that works and is highly, highly profitable. So I want you to make sure that you're moving forward, you see that the numbers work and make it happen for you. After seeing some of these things that we had, those first two designs that we couldn't continue with because it was focused on 2020 on a specific time, I want you really to focus on evergreen products that will sell year-round. Otherwise, you're going to be discontinuing items like we had to do, right? Of course, you're going to have things that sell better during certain sales times a year, but the more you can get evergreen products up, the more that they'll sell year-round for you in your store. Next, I want to make sure that you know your numbers to maximize your profits. In case study number 2, you saw there that we had a lot of different multiple items going through, and before we had our entire store free shipping set up, that we were losing money when people were getting that free shipping of the $35 or more because we didn't have the shipping built into the cost. All right, that made a big difference. So I would suggest that you think about the best way to do that, either with a free shipping model, the way I show you in that training, how to get to that. Again, it's a separate training. Make sure you check that out. Or calculated shipping that's included in there. Two different ways to make sure that when people are getting that $35 or more, that you want to make sure that you're working these prices into the orders. Otherwise, you're not going to make as much profits as you can. All right, so think about those things. Know your numbers so you can best maximize your profits. And last but not least, make sure you turn on your Etsy ads, because this is going to help you maximize your sales. It's going to help you get better organic rankings, get things going quickly. And those off-site ads, as you see, we get tremendous results from that, and I want you to benefit from that as well. So a lot of things here in these case studies. I hope you had some good takeaways from that. Now turn around, utilize this to implement it into your own business and take your business to much higher levels. I want you to blow away my numbers, because again, I know you can do it. You have the training. You're going to